As we stand here today to honor a great friend, I feel it's my duty to tell you what Carl meant to us. Carl was a dedicated and determined officer with an infectious smile. On a moment's notice, Carl would drop anything just to lend a helping hand. Almost every night, 5 minutes before our shift would end, Carl would be conducting a traffic stop, serving a warrant, or even volunteering for that last-minute paperwork call. Our shift ends at 11 p.m., but Carl's shift, well, I still can't tell you when it ended. The last 2 years, I've had the honor to work with Carl as a school resource officer. On a daily basis, Carl and I would discuss the daily events that would occur here at Northwestern High School. As Carl would explain an incident that would happen at the school, he first would describe the student, tell me their last and first name, their date of birth, their address, telephone number, who they're related to, and sometimes even their eye color. He was our White Rod Lynch. Carl was also very frugal. I remember one day walking to a roll call and seeing Carl pretty upset. He was staring at his paycheck and crunching numbers on his cell phone in a frantic motion. Never really seeing Carl upset before, I was a little worried to ask what was wrong, but I did. An hour and a half later, I learned that Carl was mad over 22 cents. That's right, 22 cents. As someone flipped him a quarter, he told me, Jake, just like time, every penny and moment counts. And to Carl, every penny did count. This week has been filled with every emotion possible. But among all the emotions, one word stands out, the word proud. I'm proud to have worn this badge alongside Carl for the last few years. I'm proud to honor Carl the way he wanted to be honored. I'm proud of every single public servant inside this building and the help that they poured in. I'm proud of the Howard County Sheriff's Department. In our darkest hours, in our darkest days, we stood tall. I'm proud of this community. Your outpouring support and overwhelming support for this entire family and law enforcement community has been so tremendous. I truly cannot thank you enough. I'm proud of Carl's family, the way they came together and allowed us to embrace them. I'm so proud of Cassie. The way she stood so strong, and yet the most difficult time of her life. It has truly been inspiring. But most of all, I'm proud. I'm proud to call Carl a great friend. As you leave here today, I challenge you. I challenge you to be that good neighbor, that person that says hi to a complete stranger. I challenge you to go the extra mile just to lend a helping hand. I challenge you to step up and be a courageous person, to do the right thing even when no one's looking. And lastly, I challenge you not to take life for granted, because like time and money, every moment and penny counts.
Today I stand before you, a humble man, to say a few words about my good friend, Carl Koontz. Although I am honored and proud to be here, I wish this horrible tragedy had never happened. But today, it's not about a horrible tragedy. Rather, it's about a hero. A man who sacrificed his life for another is the reason that we are all gathered here today. So I implore you not to think about the tragedy, but to think about his legacy. I think back to Carl's training days shortly after he had gotten hired. I had the privilege of being one of Carl's FTOs. He was my first rookie, and I was just as nervous as he was. Primarily because it was in January, and we had lots of snow on the ground and bitter cold temperatures. Our first day, we weren't even in a squad car, but we were in a four-wheel drive truck that barely had any red and blue lights in it. And I thought, oh God, please be with us today. Because I had heard he loved to really drive fast. He had a really nice car, and now we were in a four-wheel drive truck. That day, we started roll call off with a very serious conversation about icy roads and speed. Let's just say that we had a very eventful time together. If I was able to teach Carl anything, it was where he needed to go when he got us stuck. It was at the rear bumper as I hopped in the driver's seat and he pushed. I remember a specific warrant service that we went to that Jake, Carl, and I had gone to in a neighborhood. No, really, the wanted person should have thanked us for giving the heads up that we were coming, because we got stuck 3 times, did a donut, and let everyone in the neighborhood know that we were there. Carl made it through his FTO phase, and a couple of years had passed. He was becoming quite the officer, so we decided to throw another challenge at him. We asked him to join the honor guard and go to camp with us. Carl was hesitant in his decision, basing it on his giant 14-size shoe, sticking out when he got out of step. Jake, Kramer, Carl, and I, we made the journey up the Goshen with a few Kokomo officers, and the goon squad was quickly formed. Carl also met his other dad that he didn't even really know that he had, a man named Deputy Koontz. There are so many memories from that trip, but I don't have time to share them all. There is one particular that the statute of limitation does not permit me to share. Let's just say that it involved a casino, police cars, and Carl's expert legal advice that really didn't help us at all. What fun times we shared. Recently, a slogan was developed for a sign that we had made for the Sheriff's Department just within this last month. And it read like this: honor, commitment, service, dedication, HCSD. And Carl exemplified each of these. He wore the uniform and he donned his badge with honor. He honored his family, his fellow officers, and the citizen in which he served. Carl was committed. He worked hard to keep us all safe. He worked extra hours, volunteered at different events, and he even did research on case law and the whereabouts of wanted subjects on his own time at home. Carl served with everything that he had. He served this school that we're in right now. He served his community, and he made people feel valued, respected, and safe. He was always helping people and would go the extra mile to do whatever he could to help those in need. Lastly, Carl was dedicated. He was first dedicated to the loves of his life, Cassie, Noah, the rest of his family. He was so proud of you. He loved you all so much. He was dedicated to the people he worked with. I can remember countless times that he would back me up on traffic stops, volunteer to take calls for me, and fell on the sword for many of us on several occasions. His paperwork was pretty much flawless, and his willingness to help others make a case was instrumental to every single one of us. He was also dedicated to this community. No matter what type of call, who the players were, or even if it went past his shift, Carl was dedicated. He was dedicated even to the very end. I had the honor of being by his side while at the hospital in Kokomo. He never stopped fighting. When most of us thought that he was done fighting, Carl proved his dedication one more time as he squeezed my hand. He opened up his eyes. As Cassie walked in, he leaned over and he looked at her. As his mom walked in, he leaned over and he looked at her. I believe this was Carl's way of saying, it's gonna be okay. In closing, I just want to say thank you. Thank you, Carl, for being you. Thank you for being my friend and my brother. You have taught us all so much, and for that we are eternally grateful. Your leadership, your friendship, and professionalism will be forever in our hearts, where your legacy will live on forever. Thank you for being what it means to be a Howard County Deputy Sheriff. Rest easy, my friend. We'll take it from here.
You're watching RTV 6 live coverage of the funeral for Deputy Carl Koontz. Our live coverage continues right after this short break.